hailing from the country of the Caribbean, and she talks about a penalty period. By the time this immigrant talent comes to our shores, and the time that it takes for that immigrant talent to start thriving, we really need to produce a lot of speaker about reflecting, but really to try to reduce that penalty period so that talent can really find a conducive environment, as you mentioned, provided with the tools to be able to succeed here. I'm talking about new tools, technology, and certainly investing in our youth. Certainly our youth to spend a big chunk of their day in schools. And I'm glad that we have Doctor in Education, Pino Buffoni, here with us, the Director of Education of the Ottawa Cochrane District School Board, primarily around financial education. Yes, I have a teenager at home, she wants to earn money, but what do you do with that money if you know how to use it wisely? So I know this is very familiar to many of you because we're young people, but how much of that education, Dr. Pino Buffoni, is being actually taught in our schools? How much of effort that is being to really expand financial education primarily among our youth? Please.
Certainly, thank you, David. Bonjour tout le monde. C'est un plaisir d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you and my distinguished colleagues on the panel. I will share to begin a definition of financial literacy. Really the development of knowledge, skills, and expertise for an individual's decision-making in the management of money. And I will share 2 points from a public education perspective and then share 3 notions for your consideration. The 2 points I want to make is that financial literacy forms part of our curriculum. There are certain grades at the secondary level where it's covered as a specific topic. The development of those knowledge and skills around finances. The second one's tied to what's called the scope and sequence. And that is a document in our curricula, in our pedagogical practices, that link elements of financial literacy wherever else in the curriculum they arise. Could be in the arts, could be in mathematics, might be in the literacy. So there are multiple venues through which we teach financial literacy, not solely specific courses, well beyond that from a kindergarten through to grade 12 experience. The 3 notions I wanted to leave you with for your consideration when I think about cultural diversity serving as a driver of economic growth over time. The first one is that our educational institutions can serve as a portal for cultural diversity. I'm a believer that public education is a cornerstone of a healthy, vibrant society, and that it can serve as a great equalizer for our students, regardless of the barriers that they might face, socioeconomic or other, or the backgrounds they come from. Very important that we live and learn together in public education, and it gets to some of what Senator Wilfreda, Councillor King have spoken to in the development of those knowledge and skills. The second one is that our programs and services offered can build that economic growth. I'll give you an example at elementary and at secondary. At elementary, we partner with an organization called Junior Achievement Canada. It builds entrepreneurial skills to students, how you market or add a particular project to actually bring it to society, how you might value your service that you wish to sell for its good to society. These are skills with young kids that we can develop it over time. At the secondary level, we have what we call the SW Suite. They are schools within a college, schools within a university, schools within, most recently, emerging and future technologies, so that our students can develop those skills in emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and other technologies we're not even aware of yet, and build skills over time that connect them to their post-secondary pursuits. The third point I want to make, and this one is a little bit about promising pros and cautions about cons that we need to consider related to economic growth. Some of the promising pros are that we remain, despite some of the things we continue to work on, one of the highest performers on international assessments. Our country, our nation, our province as a jurisdiction, because education is provincially run, and our district at Ottawa Carleton remains in the top 5 to top 10 in the world on literacy, mathematics, science achievement. More impressive than the numbers, than our performance often in the top 5, is that we have a high equity factor. Many of the other top 5 performers are very homogeneous jurisdictions. We're not. We can demonstrate to the world, and we do it in these performances on our assessments, that we can and have diversity as a strength. And that's very inspiring to me. The second one that I wanted to mention really as a pro is just that experiential learning opportunities we provide in public education that are meaningful real-life connections for kids and link them to industry partners for their future. It's very exciting. I want to mention 2 cautions, as I won't say cons as a negative, but something we have to be careful about. The first one of which is related to mental health and wellness. The extent to which our students feel anxiety and uncertainty about the future, it's just something we need to keep in the balance as we work on achievement. We must also work on well-being. The second one's an interesting, more recent trend related to attendance. And that is that there was once a time where attendance was due to sore throats. What's on the rise for us in public education is that attendance or absences, I should say absences due to sore throats, absences due to parents and guardians. Parents and guardians saying to their kids, I'm on home on Thursday, why don't you stay home on Thursday too? I'm not placing judgment on that, because in my head and my heart, I feel there might be a connection there between parents and their kids. But when I hear the kids say, well, my parents were working and I was on my tablet, that's a missed day of schooling. And that's something that those students have to catch up on. And so it's something we just have to keep an eye on as a caution. In my day in education, my parents never said to me, why don't you take a day to stay at home? So we need to really reinforce the importance of regular attendance, consistency for students, and we need to keep an eye on the kind of well-being and mental health issues that are emerging, not only anxiety. I'll share this final comment. When I was a teacher, I taught the intermediate grades. I'm a director of a school board now. When I taught kids around 11, 12, 13, 14 years of age, and they were our most challenging group at the time. They were going through puberty, there was often a lot of attitude that came with those grades. The greatest challenge in our system right now is our kindergarten students coming into the system with levels of dysregulation we've never experienced before. So we've got some areas of real promising positivity and pros. We've got some cautions we just need to be concerned about and careful with that we need to work on. So pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. I know there's a lot of parents here in this room. Thank you for your reflections. And I can gather here from the rich equity factor that our education, our country boasts. Number 2, the experiential learning. Maybe I'd like to invite some of our members here of the speakers, maybe to reflect on that, maybe opportunities that they can actually offer later after we go through the first round of questions as well. And especially mental health is such a prevalent issue, not only for adults, but also for our young people in our families. I want to move on to Misty Meseret-Heleyus, Chief Executive Officer of the Canadian Centre for Women's Empowerment. And Meseret, on Monday, you attended an announcement right across this building on Parliament Hill on the announcement of a national anti-fraud strategy and the creation of the Federal Agency for Crime, a financial crime agency. We talk about financial integration, financial crime. This has been at the core of your work for the past almost 10 years as the president of the Canadian Centre for Women's Empowerment. Why this is so important to you as we reflect on that announcement coming at this juncture, reflecting on the work you've done for the past 10 years?
Yeah, so thank you so much for inviting this beautiful panel, and thank you so much, Gypsy, for organizing this beautiful event. So on Monday, as you all see on media, the Government of Canada announced the first ever policy, and which is all about to establish a new agency to fight crime and fraud, and also to develop the first ever National Code of Conduct for economic and financial abuse, which never happened, of course, globally. In New Zealand and United Kingdom, they have those policies. So my organization, the first and only organization in Canada, we were advocating this for 10 years. So research, advocacy, community consultation, and also we submitted a number of policy recommendations for Financial Consumer Agency Canada, Bank of Canada, Canadian Bankers Association, and we have also nationwide task force. So these are the experts who drive behind the scene. So this policy and this investment is all about building a resilient economic future for this country. So as someone who care about economic resilience, the most important foundation is all about accountability. So now the government is investing to make sure that sectors are accountable to fight for crime. So financial fraud in this country, many people are really, experiencing it in one or another way. And also we learned that there's a lot of people that are losing money on scam and fraud. So the AI revolution by itself perpetuates thousands of people. We have a number of women who experience gender-based violence. We have an everyday report. These women, they lose their money. There's a dating app is out there, as you know. There's a number of algorithm issues as well. And vulnerable population, because of this revolution, they are scamming. So this is a new federation or agency. Probably it would be a very good opportunity for us to establish a fair, transparent, and integrated economic system, because that's what we need in Canada right now. So this work, we had a conversation with Financial Consumer Agency Canada in many years, and we tried to pilot, and as you know, we are a small organization and also non-for-profit, but like seeing the government taking bold action, it means a lot. So I personally also attended the last spring meeting, World Bank and IMF. I had a chance to speak with CSO as well, how Canadian government would be the top leading, for this work. So I don't know if you see on media, I'm the first person to raise this issue also and to recognize economic abuse code of conduct also on the United Nations last year. So we knew that as a G7 country, we have accountability to make sure that financial equity is in place in financial institutions, because that's the bottleneck for immigrant population in this country. So hopefully this investment, it's really solve many things. Number one, we can fight gender-based violence. Number two, we can fight fraud and scam. Number three, we can support financial institutions to be more resilient, more, sustainable, and then they have equity in their program, and then they can make also profit out of that. After all, it's all about protecting their clan. And in addition to that, for those people who are struggling on violence and crime, the impact is very complicated. It's also a hope to such kind of system. So, in a nutshell, I'm very happy and then proud to lead this, movement. And we have also international coalition, which is based in the UK. And we're also asking the other countries, how can we adapt? So one of our things actually last year, what we did is, we have seen also violence and crime on e-transfer. So I don't know if you know the story of one woman, she was killed by a perpetrator because of e-transfer messaging. So one of the things what we did is we also collaborate with CBC and major banks across Canada. So now we're very happy, Canadian Bankers Association, including ATRAC, taking bold steps so we can have a new opt-out feature to protect victims, because those platforms, this fintech, digital stuff, they are perpetuating vulnerable populations, especially migrant people, older people, seniors people. They don't have, the knowledge and the digital literacy skills. So I'm so happy, investing on this sector is very critical to build economic resilience for this country. So that's all about the announcements.
Well, thank you so much. And you know what? As I was listening to you, the country should not only be measured by their GDP, by their economic powerhouse, but more so how we take care of people who find themselves in vulnerable situations. And as you follow the news, these are in the millions of dollars that we lose every day, Canadians, to that international crime and fraud. So thank you for your advocacy for the past